Hi, I'm Lori Betts. Welcome to Golden Years. Happy New Year. This month I have a special guest, Lori Rosenberg from CapTel, and she is going to show us a feature that you will be able to hear your kids on the phone when they call you. So come on back and we're going to explain it to you.
There is nothing wrong with your television. We are controlling transmission. You are about to experience the awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to Brunswick Area Television.
As a nation, we need to invest in our young people, let them know that they are full of potential. Now let's help them succeed, and mentoring can do that. Help your country by volunteering as a mentor to a young person in your community. You'll be glad you did. Mentoring works. Become a mentor.
Welcome back to Golden Years. This month, my guest is Lori, and she has a wonderful tool that you can use in your home to be able to answer your telephone calls and have a good conversation with your children, your neighbors, your friends. So Lori, tell us all about your CapTel telephone.
Sure. The CapTel phone, major features from other phones is that it does show the captioning of the entire conversation that you're having. So you're still able to hear out of the receiver, but it's backed up and supported by the text that shows up on the screen. The phone itself is amplified 4 times what a traditional phone is, so you're going to hear better right out of the box. So that's a good thing.
Can you control that amplify?
Absolutely. There's the button right down here, the volume button.
Okay.
You move it up and down, and it will adjust. So each person you talk to, you can adjust as you're speaking with them. But the big feature is the screen up here that's attached to the phone that shows you word for word what your caller is saying. So you're able to hear what you can, but you can totally follow along with what you're not hearing.
And you can make that like large letters, small letters?
Sure. One of the things that we do when we install the phone is that we personalize it for you, from the font size to the lighting, how bright the screen comes on,
good.
how loud it rings, what tone it rings at, all those things that really make it personal for you and your hearing loss, so you can maximize the features of the phone.
And can that be used as an answering machine also?
Absolutely. The phone does have the capacity to hear your messages, to take messages, to hear your messages, and to replay your messages. You can only use one answering machine in your home, so if you are in a home with multiple people and somebody likes the answering machine that you're currently using, then you just wouldn't set this one up.
Okay.
But if you're in a home where, like, maybe there's 2 people, but the major user of the answering machine needs the phone, then we set this answering machine up and we take down the other, or turn off the other answering machine.
Because that would be ideal, because if the doctor's office calls and you want to tell your daughter what the doctor had to say,
yeah,
she could just read it word for word.
Right. I would, when people ask me, I always recommend that they use the CapTel, because it's like that safety net, being able to see what people are saying to you. So, and I go through, we set up the phone in terms of the answering machine. We make test calls so people see how they can recognize when they have a message, and then how to retrieve a message. So yeah, we go through all those things. It takes me maybe about 15, 20 minutes to actually set the phone up to make it working. It can take me a half hour, 45 minutes to an hour, depending on the questions that people have, to really walk through and educate people. That's the more important part, because we just deliver this, it's technology. It's really pretty simple to use.
Does Mrs. Jones have to have certain technology in the house to make this work? Or it's just installed like a regular phone?
Yes. Well, we can install it in multiple levels of technology. For Mrs. Jones, who doesn't have internet, just the old analog phone,
okay,
we have a phone that will meet that need. It's just a basically plug into the wall, plug into the phone jack. And then we go through and we educate how the phone works. Then we also have the home that has internet service. And that's where it gets a little more tricky in the setup because we do connect it to their router. And we look for broadband internet service. So we can't have dial-up. And believe it or not, there's still homes with dial-up. But we need that modem router combination to use it. And the phones have the same functions, whether it's an analog or it's the internet. Some of the how you use the phone as the caller coming in works differently. With the internet phone, the internet keeps you seamlessly connected to the captionist. So whether you're picking it up to dial out or you're picking up to answer a phone, you're connected to the captioning service. On the analog phone, the home without internet, somehow we have to bring the captionist into the phone call. As the user of the CapTel, every time you pick up and you make a phone call, you will be connected to the captioning service. Yeah. In the home, from the CapTel, you will have captions. Tricky part, the person calling you, calling Mrs. Jones, has to bring in the captionist to the phone call, to the conversation. If you call directly, her number, the captionist isn't involved, the conversation will not be captioned.
Oh.
You first call a toll-free number, there's a brief message, you listen to it once, and then you dial Mrs. Jones's phone number followed by the pound sign. So you've called the captioning service, you've told the captioning service by dialing the number what number you want to call, the pound sign says send it. So now you and the captionist are connected to Mrs. Jones.
Okay.
It sounds complicated. It really isn't once you do it once or twice. And we have little call me cards that have that toll-free number on it. And then I write in the user's phone number so when they go to the doctors or they can give to their kids, they have that card. And once you do this once or twice,
you'll get in the routine.
To have a quality conversation,
Yeah.
that extra
Perfect.
step,
Yes.
it's worth it.
It's very frustrating when I call my mother and she's got the hearing aids and I still have to repeat and yell the conversation on the phone. And I know she's frustrated because she can't get what I'm saying. And then she just gets very discouraged.
Yeah.
So our conversation's cut.
Right.
But Mrs. Jones, all she has to do is pick up the phone and dial normal.
Dial normal. Right.
Okay.
There's a button right down here. It's the caption button. When it's connected, fully connected, it will glow red. And as long as there's that red ring on that phone, you're connected to the captionist.
Okay. What if a lifeline's involved?
Well, we can do that. You know, in the back of the lifeline where the phone line comes in, well, we just plug our CapTel phone in there. Simple
Perfect.
enough. So you're getting that. You're getting two safety nets, because I consider this a safety net. Because if you can't communicate effectively with your doctors, your families, social worker, your home health, whoever that you're dealing with, you're putting yourself at risk. You're not communicating accurately. So I really do see this as a safety feature. It's awesome. It helps, you know, eliminate isolation, depression, and a lot of other things that will come along with not communicating on the phone. So.
Okay, how far does this hold messages? Like, let's say 2 weeks ago she got a message from someone and she wants to go back and retrieve it, if possible.
It will hold messages.
Okay, so there's a memory.
There's a memory, and you can go through and delete messages that you're no longer interested in.
Okay.
And you can keep the ones that you are. One of my favorite features of the phone is the conversation, where it will retain the last 500 lines of conversation. That only goes 500 lines. So if you have 500 lines
per conversation.
Yeah. So when you hang up the phone, you can go back in to the conversation mode, and you can read everything that the caller said.
Okay.
Not what you said, but what the caller said. That holds for 500 lines. So it depends how much you talk and how long you talk. Could be 6 conversations. It could be 8 conversations. It could be 1. You know, depending on how long you talk. And it tracks itself, so it will always keep it at 500 lines. It'll just chop off the oldest when the newest come on.
Okay. If Mrs. Jones likes this idea, is it a contract? Is there a monthly fee?
No. The CapTel phone is for anyone who has hearing loss.
Any age?
Any age. So it's not just for our seniors and our older folks. There is no contract, monthly contract. There's no annual contract. This program and this phone is supported with the Americans with Disabilities Act. Again, going back to it's for anybody who has hearing loss, hearing issues. So all those captioning fees are covered under that. You actually, when I deliver the phone, we go through some terms and agreements, and one of the terms and agreements is that you understand that the government is paying for this program. So right there, it puts you at ease, because we tell everybody to be careful of scams, things that sound too good to be true.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And that's a hurdle that we have with the phone, but it really is. It's a federal program. So yeah, there are no extra bills. There's no addition to your phone bill. The only thing you have to continue to do is you have to continue to pay your phone bill, and if you have internet, you have to continue to pay your internet bill.
And so the phone company doesn't charge you any extra fee?
They don't even know it's there.
Oh, very good. Okay, tell me a price on that phone, because I'm liking that phone.
Okay, that's a loaded question. Okay, bear with me as I go through the different pricing and distribution programs we have. We just rolled out in November 2 new programs. One I'm just super excited about. I've already used it several times, and that's for our veterans. Veterans of any age with a hearing loss receive this phone at no cost. No certification, no verification from a doctor that you have a hearing loss. You just present to say, I have a hearing loss, I'd love to have one of these phones.
No prescription or nothing?
No prescription, nothing. The only thing I'm going to ask you is what branch of service you were in. I just need to know what your branch of service.
Okay.
So then the phone is at no cost, and on the other end, there's no cost to use it. So it's nothing out of pocket.
And it's a brand new phone they're going to be delivered.
Brand new phone, installation, that's all covered free.
That's hard to believe.
0. Yeah.
What's the catch?
There's no catch.
Very good.
Well, I guess the catch is that in the long run, we're saving money by keeping people at home, people keeping safe,
Very
and
good.
then they're not having to,
Quality.
bring in extra services, move to a different transitional living. If you are a federal employee, same thing. We're going to give you that phone at no cost. Services, no cost. The only thing that we're going to ask you for is your work ID, your work email, and your work identification number. Something that, again, that's going to verify that you are a federal employee. Nothing for this. So then the next level is if for someone who has internet in their home.
Okay.
Internet in your home. You have Wi-Fi in your home. With this certificate, which we call a third-party certificate, it's signed by your physician, it's signed by or your audiologist, or your hearing aid dispenser, or a social worker, or a nurse, or a occupational physical therapist, someone who can attest that you have a hearing loss where you would benefit from the use of the phone. Internet, this certificate, the phone is free.
Yikes.
A lot of people have internet in the home. I've actually had people who've brought internet into the home to get the phone.
Oh, interesting.
Free.
Okay.
So that's a free phone. If you do not have internet in the home, you're not a veteran, you're not a federal employee, it's $75 in tax.
One-time fee.
One time only.
And a brand new phone.
And a brand new phone
You
with
can't
all these
get
features.
a phone. Yeah, you can't get a phone for that price.
You can't go to the technology stores. You can't go online and buy a phone that has these kinds of features for $75.
We're going to take a quick break. Come on back, and Lori's going to show you some more features of this awesome telephone. So come on back.
When emergencies threaten, you want to know immediately. In the City of Brunswick, residents receive alerts from Code Red. The Code Red service works with a database of phone numbers of Brunswick residents. Depending on the size and scope of the emergency, Code Red alerts either all of the city or just the part that is affected.
This is received a code red message from the City of Brunswick.
As a city resident, you also have the opportunity to add warnings about severe weather, such as tornadoes, thunderstorms, or flash floods. If you want to be sure that you are registered, or if you want to add or change your notifications or phone number, we encourage you to visit the Code Red website. You'll find a link to Code Red on the city's website, www.brunswick.oh.us. Just click on the button for complete information and options.
Welcome back to Golden Years. I am interviewing Lori Rosenberg, and she is sharing with us all about CapTel, a wonderful telephone that has wonderful features to help you in your daily life in your own home. Lori, okay, how many different phones are there?
Well, we have 3 different phones. This is our standard phone, which is both for the internet and for that analog.
Okay.
This is the one, this is how it looks. But we have also, now for the internet, this is the only one we have for analog.
Okay.
Non-internet.
Everyday telephone.
Every day, no internet in your home.
Okay.
So if you're in the internet, we also have one that's touchscreen, which is a little more modern, a little more contemporary for usually some of our tech-savvy people.
And we do have some tech-savvy seniors out there.
Right.
Yes,
and
we
they have their iPads or their notebooks, and so it's kind of touchscreen. It has a little more specific settings for like the audiograms from the audiologist, so there's a little more accuracy in setting the tone. And then we have this phone as well with a 10:7 screen, excuse me, for people with low vision.
Okay.
Excuse me.
So it's like magnified.
Yeah, it's just larger screen, same exact features, and of course I'm not gonna
Easier read.
an easier read. So as you can see, the base is the same, but the phone comes out, the screen comes out much larger. So let me show you like some of the features of the phone.
Educate us.
This is the basic blue screen that you'll see if you don't have any messages. And one of the nice things about the phone is that it will give you prompts in the blue bar below of what to do. So it says press yes for options. Before I go there, I want to just step back. We talked about the captioning, we talked about the volume. One of the things that I also really like about the phone is this blue button on the surface is customer service. Our customer service is in Madison, Wisconsin. The phone is actually made in Wisconsin. It's an American-made product, but they're there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Wow.
So if you have any questions, be it you think they're silly on how to use it, or you don't think it's working right, you call customer service, you hit the button, that's our customer service number, you pick up the phone, and it'll dial. They're there to answer your questions. And their goal is to make sure that you're
safe.
You're comfortable and safe using the phone. So that's an awesome feature right here on the phone.
Okay, I want to stop you. If there's a power outage, what does she have to do anything?
When the power comes back on again, the only thing you have to reset is the date and time. All the other features, all the other settings will remain.
And it all kick back in when someone calls and everything. Okay, go ahead.
Good question, though. We have 3 speed dials on the surface of the phone. The people that you call the most, or if you have a family emergency contact person, you just hit the button, pick up the phone, and call. And a lot of times I'll set that as part of the installation so that people don't have to do it. It's kind of old school with the numbers and how many times you want to hit the button until you get to the letter N.
But it's a new toy and it's overwhelming. So
yeah, so we try to make it easier. So you press yes for options, and then here we have an additional phone book which will hold 95 other names and numbers, and that's where we're talking about the pizza guy. It's really good. I want that pepperoni pizza. So and I show people how to use it, and you set it up through Edit Phone Book. Call history is a list of everybody if you have caller ID, is a list of everybody who's called you, the day, the time, their phone number. So if you know there's somebody's been calling you repeatedly, you're going to see that.
Oh,
So
good point.
the conversations, what we were talking about earlier, that's where you go to read everything that the caller said after you've hung up. I would go in there now, but there isn't anything in there. And this is the answering machine. Yet you can set it for how many rings you want before it's picked up. You can personalize your message. And it's easy to move around as you go to the down button and you say yes. That was the yes button. And then you turn the answering machine on and off, the settings, the greetings, clearing messages. Again, you have directions right here. So when you're little, I don't know what to do, you just can check there. And we have a great manual that shows you these screenshots and which buttons to push.
Does a person on the other end know that you have this phone?
Just a regular caller?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
But you can always say, could you slow down a bit? I'm using a caption phone. Or just a minute, I'm reading what you're saying. I'm using a caption phone.
Okay.
And then we're going to go down to settings. And this is where we can customize the phone setting to the pitch. Do you want it high, medium, or low?
Oh, wow.
Do you want it loud, louder, soft, or muted? Because some people have complete hearing loss, so they don't need it to ring, so it's on mute.
Good point.
Keypad lights, these are just some factory settings that we go through. Display screen will be the brightness of the screen. I can just show you.
And then you said color too.
How it goes dim, it goes dim. Color, we can make it different colors. I don't mess with that so much. For the kids I do, for younger people, but for seniors I think that black and white contrast is probably an easier read. But we can go to font size, we go to medium, we can go to large, we can go to extra large. So it really, again, we go through all of these settings when I install the phone. And then, again, these are some more technical factory setting, kind of the time and day. It's really pretty easy. 0, 2, 0, 0. Hit the 7 button for afternoon. 1, 2, no. So we made a mistake. We go to the down button. It takes us back. 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 5. Say yes, and it's set. So again, these are things that maybe a senior wouldn't want to do or wouldn't, and I can just go through and set these up as part of the installation.
For buying the phone, for you setting it all up, I mean, you buy a phone at Walmart. Okay, it's not going to have these kind of features, nor you setting it up for them.
No.
And then you could finally have wonderful conversations with the person on the other end of the phone.
Right. There is about a 2 to 3 second delay of what the caller says to what you're going to see on the screen.
Okay.
And that's the time it takes the captionist to create the text. So there is a third party that's not a machine. There is a third party that's hearing what your caller is saying. Never hears what you say.
Oh.
Only what the caller is saying.
Well, that could be another protection for the senior then, if you think about it.
Because they're not getting a whole,
Right.
the whole conversation. Right.
Okay.
There's no records kept of those conversations. The captionists are covered under FCC guidelines. So there's, people are worried about confidentiality. Those are all covered. Captionists have very strict guidelines and confidentiality laws. And we go through training too annually about confidentiality and all of that. We go through mandatory training through the FCC.
The Privacy Act.
The Privacy Act, yes. So really with the Veterans Program or the Federal Employee Program, but mostly this third-party certificate, just a way to be able to get the phone in people's hands who need them. And we can find a way that people can get a hold of these forms.
Well, and you're leaving it open that so many people that you are connected with. You said social worker, PT, your doctor, audiologist. I mean, that's a lot of people in your circle.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So that they could vouch for you and say, yes, this would be a wonderful tool, which I think it would be perfect.
Yeah, it's not always about actually the user. It's about that circle of people around them who want to call. You mentioned your mom. Well, I don't know if she lives locally or not, but if she lives far away, that's your regular contact with her. And for it to be frustrating for you and for her, it's not the kind of quality of relationship you want as our parents get older. We want to have a better quality, less stressful conversation. So this is just one way to ease up that conversation, make it more enjoyable, make it more successful.
And I'm sure some children do not call mom and dad because they hang up the phone frustrated thinking, okay, what was our conversation? There was no quality. He didn't hear half the things I asked him, and he just answered to answer. I mean, this would be fantastic.
And that raises questions. The answer just to answer raises questions about the individual's cognitive status. And so the kids are now thinking, Dad just told me he had pizza for dinner when I asked him, how was the bingo game at the senior center? Right?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to start to wonder about some of those cognitive issues. This is something that will make both sides happier to know that we're on the same page.
Oh, yeah.
So.
And I know you hit all the highlights. So is there anything you want to leave with the viewers? Could the daughter call you and say, okay, Mom is talking about some kind of CapTel phone?
Yeah. I always want to answer questions that, like when I'm at a health fair or I'm talking with a potential user about, they want me to talk with their children. I'm so open to doing that, just to create that welcoming environment for the phone and to increase the success of the phone call.
Now, is there a website the daughter can go to or the son to see what this is all about?
We have www.CapTel, I think it is.
Easy.
Yeah, I'm probably bad on that because we really don't use it a lot. We use it more locally. So I'd be glad to give out my email address. And if people wanted to email me, and I can always email them this form.
Oh, perfect.
So that I can get in. I also have literature, some of these fact sheets on each one of the phones that I'd be glad to send out to anybody. But I'm a local person, so I don't have a lot of those other accesses. So that's how I really communicate with people.
And that's great, great. And to my viewers, I mean, the fact that you could get a brand new phone for a $75 fee, have Lori set it up, have a quality conversation with your children is priceless.
Absolutely. It's a great way to start out the year.
It's a new year, a new beginning. So I think you need to look into this. Lori, thank you so much for coming on my show.
My pleasure.
Thanks for watching this month. I think this was a wonderful program that Lori came on and showed us all about this CapTel telephone. I will have one at GTB. You could stop in right on Pearl Road. You could see what it looks like, touch it, feel it. And then if you're interested, we'll make the phone calls and we'll get Lori to come over and show you more. This is your program, Golden Years. If you would like anything to be talked about on the show or any places you want us to go off to, just call me at GTB 330-225-2551 and I'll make it happen. Have a wonderful new year and we will see you next month.
These are some of the 360,000 Senior Corps volunteers 55 and older driving results through service. The faces of experience. This is Senior Corps. Visit nationalservice.gov. This message brought to you by the Corporation for National and Community Service.